Imagine the ground trembling beneath your feet as you steel yourself to face hordes of enemies, the metallic smell of blood, the hot sting of sweat, the clang of shields crashing together. Today, you'll learn how to survive a Roman battle by mastering the survival tactics that forged invincible legions across centuries of warfare, from Alesia to Britannia. The fear of not seeing the next dawn ate away even the most seasoned soldier. In ancient Roman battles, it was common for up to 30% of a cohort to perish due to lack of physical, mental, or tactical preparation. Many Romans were crushed by perfect enemy formations simply because they didn't know the secrets of Roman legionary training and the rituals that guaranteed discipline and focus amid chaos. In this video, we'll walk through every step, from schemes to avoid the front line, to physical conditioning, mental fortitude, and combat maneuvers that kept your shield steady under the enemy's charge. You'll learn to throw the pilum with precision, march miles in armor, and keep a cool head when everything around you descends into disorder. But before we dive into these stories and curiosities of the Roman Empire, make sure you're subscribed and hit the bell. That way, you won't miss any of our videos packed with secrets and surprises about ancient Rome, ready to crack the code that turned peasants into war machines and apply those same lessons to conquer your own challenges. Let's go! The immediate impact of war true preparation ends the moment you step onto the field. The camp's hush is shattered by the thunder of thousands of feet marching in unison, the deafening clash of metal on metal, and war cries echoing through the valley. In that instant, fear takes shape. The air fills with the acrid tang of sweat, dust kicked up by shields, and the metallic taste of blood not yet spilled. Beneath your feet, ground once churned by wagons and tents now vibrates with the steady advance of legionaries in triple aces formation. Each step reverberates up your spine, reminding you that you're part of a mighty war machine, yet still vulnerable to a well-placed strike. Your heart hammers, your breath comes in ragged gasps under your lorica segmentata, and your hands sweat behind your scutum's rim as you crave the order to hurl your pilum or draw your gladius. In this sensory storm, many soldiers lose their composure. Sweat blinds them, vision blurs, and minds freeze. Recognizing this avalanche of stimuli as part of the combat ritual is step one in mastering it. Understanding that fear is as natural as your heartbeat and that every inch gained depends on reacting, not freezing. Behind every shield, the enemy is only half the threat. The other half is the reflection of yourself in the horror, and it's that awareness, knowing that quick decisions can mean the difference between life and death, that separates the legionary destined for victory from the one who succumbs to panic. When fear threatens to paralyze you, some Romans were already one step ahead, learning how to dodge the front line without staining their honor. Next, you'll learn those same tactics for outmaneuvering war before you even draw your sword. How to avoid battle. Social strategies before raising their gladius. Many Romans tried to escape the front line by working Rome's social gears. The patronage system decided fates. Having an influential patron, a senator, magistrate, or respected veteran, could secure you an honesta missio, an honorable discharge assignment to guard duty or camp administration. Far from the spear tips. The army wasn't just fighters. Engineers skilled in siegecraft, surveyors mapping terrain, and clerks keeping supply accounts were highly prized. A centurion would rather keep a soldier with math or fortification skills off the bloody front than waste that talent in the fray. Show aptitude in logistics, machine design, or accounting, and you earned a safe post behind the lines. When connections and skills failed, there was the legal route. Exemptions for local officials or heads of households with young children. Presenting citizenship papers or letters from civic authorities, or claiming veteran status after full service, were tactics to avoid frontline armor. These social maneuvers didn't tarnish one's honor. They were built into Rome's military code. Mastering them was, for many, the first lesson in Roman survival tactics, but you couldn't always dodge your soldier's fate. For those sent to the front, the difference between life and death came down to physical readiness. And that's where Roman discipline shone. Get ready to see how these men turned pain into power. Physical preparation, the foundation of survival. Legionary was forged long before facing the enemy. At dawn, he hoisted his sarcina, a pack of some 20 kilo with bedding and tools, and marched up to 30 kilometers in Larica segmentata and scutum. These daily forced marches strengthened legs and spine, conditioning the body for the relentless weight of gear. In camp, drills mimicked battle chaos. Using wooden posts and leather targets, soldiers practiced pilum throws, tweaking angle and force to reach 25-30 milliliters with accuracy. Then they swapped the wooden rudies for the steel gladius, thrusting into padded dummies to strike between armor joints. Each motion was repeated until reflexive. In combat's heat, the body moved before the mind could hesitate. Endurance drills, carrying logs, wrestling, climbing makeshift walls, built explosive stamina for successive charges. Strength work, lifting, stones or catapult wheels, ensured stability when enemy phalanxes slammed into Roman lines. Maintenance was ritual. After training, each legionary disassembled an oiled armor links, sharpened his gladius, and checked scutum straps. Caring for kit wasn't luxury, it was life or death. With bodies honed by Roman discipline, the next challenge lay in the mind. In our next segment, discover how Stoic philosophy and psychological tactics kept each soldier focused when fear roared louder than war drums. The power of mental preparation. As bodies labored through marches and drills, minds were forged in stoicism. Legionaries turned to Seneca and Epictetus to embrace death as part of fate, not defeat, but nature's course. Accepting mortality kept them focused. When horror erupted around them, there was no room for panic, only action. In camps, officers led visualization exercises. Before battle, each man closed his eyes and replayed the thunder of Pila, the crash of Scuta, the glow of torches in the night. By imagining these sights and sounds, soldiers made the unexpected familiar, blunting the shock and sharpening split-second decisions when the enemy charged. Another pillar was the contubernium, squads of 8 who shared tents, meals, and confidences. This bond created mutual responsibility. To die was to betray not just oneself, but one's brothers in arms. Knowing his survival affected theirs gave each legionary strength to press forward when all else collapsed. To bolster resilience, they used simple mantras, fortis et fidelis, and strong and faithful, repeated mentally under stress. These phrases acted as triggers, restoring emotional control amid chaos, exactly what separated those who wavered from those who held the line. Body and mind prepared, the final test arrived at dawn. Every ritual, from adjusting the scutum to drawing a deep breath, would decide who lived when the sun broke the horizon. Battle day routine. Before the sun tore the sky, the camp buzzed with tense silence. The smell of barley bread baking in mobile ovens mingled with the sharp tang of diluted wine. Soldiers strapped their scuta, tapped their gladi to check the edge, and stowed pila at their belts. Every move was guided by hard-earned habit. One slip could cost a life. Breakfast was a chunk of barley bread, a piece of goat cheese, and a sip of watered-down wine, just enough energy to stave off hunger without weighing down the stomach. Then the cohort formed, shield to shield, shoulder to shoulder, creating an impenetrable mosaic. Marching toward the enemy was a sacred rite, each step synchronized, the drumbeat of feet and armor announcing Rome's war machine. Upon sighting the opposing line, precious seconds were spent sizing up numbers, weapon types, and banner placements. These clues let the centurion tweak pilum range and shield angle. Every inch won before contact shaped the battle's outcome. Ever wondered how this ritual of discipline shaped the rise and fall of empires? Drop alike and strengthen our legion of history lovers. Tension peaked in that pregnant moment. Then, with a thunderous crack, the first attack shattered the silence, and nothing would ever be the same. Silence and tension. Before the clash, when the Roman line locked into position, the entire field seemed to hold its breath. The distant clink of shields nesting together and swords sliding in scabbards was the only sound daring to pierce the hush. Some legionaries murmured ancient victory chants. Others pressed amulets to their chests, whispering prayers to Mars for protection. This blend of faith and focus created a tension sharper than any gladius. 5,200 melitors ahead, the barbarian ranks writhed like a living, unpredictable mass. Soft spears, gleaming axes, guttural cries marking their pace. There was no rigid phalanx. Here, only volatility. Centurions scanned for subtle cues, a quivering banner, a horn's echo, to anticipate the charge. In that instant, a single mistimed blink could turn a shield into a death sentence. A trained legionary used his own body as compass, isolating his breath's rhythm, feeling the scutum's weight on his shoulder, syncing his heartbeat with his comrades'. This absolute alertness, known as oral focus, opened the gateway to combat flow, where mind and body act as one, reacting before thought. Every soldier knew, in that quiet before the storm, the line between composure and collapse was drawn. This brief calm was not peace, but the portal to controlled chaos. And then in the blink of an eye, the first pylon tore through the air, and the silence exploded into 1,000 echoes of war. First impact. Controlled chaos. The centurion's war cry split the air, and in that instant hundreds of pila arced toward the enemy. These lightweight spears punctured or cracked rival shields, forcing foes to scramble. In mere seconds, dust from clashing scooter mixed with spurts of blood, erasing the line between order and mayhem. Your legionary plants his feet, scutum raised, feeling javelins ricochet. Without pause, he steps forward, drawing his gladius to thrust at the unprotected. Gaps in enemy armor. Each stab was honed by months of drilling, posture, angle, force, calibrated for lethal efficiency. It was a brutal ballet, choreographed by Rome's relentless training that turned villagers into ruthless warriors. Even amid the cacophony, maintaining formation was paramount. Each man pressed elbow to elbow, shield to shield, forming a living wall. A single misstep opened a gap for the barbarians. The secret lay in collective thought. One soldier's movement rippled through the line, turning individual acts into unified strength. In this maelstrom, chaos became tool. The Roman line advanced as a single organism, pressing forward when possible, retreating with discipline when needed. Muscle, metal, and will fused to turn the battlefield into a board where every piece knew its role. When that initial shove threatened the wall, the critical moment arrived. The rotation drill. Discover next how swapping places under fire saved lives. The dynamics of line rotation. When the initial clash drained the front ranks, it was time for the rotation drill, one of Rome's cleverest tactics. After about 15 minutes of brutal fighting, the centurion's command sent weary frontline troops back to the rear while fresh reserves stepped forward. This endless cycle prevented exhaustion from breaking the line, keeping each segment staffed by rested men. Receding wasn't retreat, but moving behind the second line, where there was room to catch one's breath, clear the scutum of splinters, and dust off the gladius. Those brief pauses, 1 to 2 minutes, were devoted to calming breaths, tightening straps, and re-oiling armor joints. Around you, it looked like a carousel of warriors, tired bodies, unbroken resolve, pulling off. This deadly dance required precision. Centurions watched the battle's pulse, choosing the exact moment to spin the human wheel without leaving gaps. To the enemy, it seemed an unbreakable wall. To the legionary, it was a chance to recharge, knowing he wouldn't fight to collapse. Thanks to this system, legions could sustain attacks for hours, while foes without rotation systems crumbled. Mastering its timing was as vital as wielding the gladius, and often saved lives once thought lost. But Rome's advantage could vanish. When rotation faltered or morale cracked, cohesion broke, and the real test of survival began. When the battle turns against you, rotation didn't always save the day. When the Roman line snapped, a chaotic retreat became a nightmare. Enemy spears flew, and disoriented feet slid in the churned mud. In that hour, keeping calm meant the difference between an honorable fallback and a merciless slaughter. The survival tactic was simple yet risky. Form small bands of soldiers, legionary remnants or allied troops, and raise scooter as makeshift shields. Even 20 men in tight formation could stall the enemy long enough for hundreds to escape. This mini testudo still protected flanks and allowed for a more orderly withdrawal. For the legionary, retreat wasn't cowardice, but a moral victory. By holding the line briefly, these small groups sacrificed position to save comrades, forging heroic legends passed down through encampments. This collective duty reinforced that even in defeat, each individual could shape many fates. When the line finally dissolved, every survivor carried the lesson. Rome's true strength lay not just in steel, but in the unity of its soldiers, ready to fight another day. And when the chaos subsided and the last war cry faded, the greatest challenge began, surviving the aftermath and readying body and mind for war again. Post-battle survival. The silence after the clash is almost as crushing as the fight itself. The field, now a patchwork of blood, dirt, and metal shards, demands your first act of survival: self-assessment. Each legionary checks for cuts, bruises, and possible fractures. Adrenaline masked pains that could turn deadly if infected. Campaign medics, known as medici, emerge as unsung heroes. Armed with rudimentary tools, scalpels, forceps, linen bandages, they apply tourniquets, drain fluids, and set dislocated bones without real anesthetic, using wine as antiseptic. Their swift care decides who returns to the front and who moves to convalescence. A pine resin and honey salve closed wounds, while chamomile and thyme tea reduced inflammation. Recovery demands discipline, strict rest, liquid grain rations, vegetable broths, and gentle massage to prevent stiffness. Each healed soldier became an extra shield for the next engagement. Finally comes the ceremony for the fallen. With barley grains and a sip of wine, the contubernium honors those who did not return. This ritual cements their brotherhood. After all, surviving a Roman battle wasn't just about technique, but about collective solidarity and resilience. If you enjoyed this journey through time and want more fascinating stories, subscribe, like, and share this video with your friends. You'll help us keep bringing top-quality historical content. Thanks for watching, and see you in our next video on ancient Rome and its mighty empire.